This is a Pulse Get Interactive. Join us with your comments via our social media handles, Facebook, X or Twitter, and of course myjoyonline.com, and of course our YouTube page as well. Now, let's start from the educational front because it's day one of the 2024 Basic Education Certificate Examinations, and more than 560,000 candidates are in the examination hall seeking to make a mark for the next senior high school intake. We'll touch base at some of the centers for you. Earlier this morning, the Education Minister was on the ground to monitor the exercise. My colleague Rejoice Pesu Emefa toured with him. Will join us shortly with more on this. First, listen to some candidates taking part in today's examination in Accra.
Okay. What is that? Prior to the examination, we're doing some English sample questions that was supposed to be. But instead of using that one, we rather use the old format. So it was the questions were familiar.
So looking at the questions, are you confident of getting an A, A1 or what?
Yes, I'm confident.
And that confidence, do you have it in the rest of the papers?
Yes, I'm sure. It's okay. I'm not going to say that, but then everything was fine.
So whatever you learned came? Really? So you should be expecting an A?
Yes. It was quite easy. It wasn't as for the best.
For the best. So we should also hope for the best in terms of your results, right?
Well, teachers and students in the OT region, in the Guan district, say the lack of resources, including textbook and inadequate teachers, made it difficult for them to prepare the students for the examination. Now, some candidates in the Volta, OT, and the Upper West regions have also been sharing their talks in the ongoing examination.
For you to travel the length and breadth of your life to be here today, you deserve a round of applause for yourself. Congratulations. You started class 1 with some people. They are not here with you. Some of them fell out on the way. So if you are able to get to JHS 3, I know that you will go to senior high. Yes, I can see a lot of you in senior high with very good grades. I'm here this morning to encourage you. Listen, please listen to your teachers, listen to the instructions, and show that level of discipline that you've gotten from your various schools and you are here. The future of your life begins from today. The results will determine how far you go in life. Your level of discipline in the exam center is another plus. Please take note. Be the disciplined children that I know you to be. Whatever is in your mind, remain very stable in the exam hall and write with confidence. I know that your teachers are so solid. For 2-3 years now, the performance in Wild West is always on the high level. We are improving day by day. And I'm sure that 2024 BECE will give us one of the best results. And I have so much faith in you. 1 meal a day from the MP. And you can just add something that you brought yourself. And for 5 good days, I am sure that Friday evening when you are leaving here, you will go back home saying that I am a graduate of BECE, and I'm preparing for my senior high. And of course, we are trying to look at a new law in Parliament. The minister may be here. They are bringing a bill to Parliament and we are waiting. We want to make the senior high better, free and better, free and quality, so that when you get there, you enjoy the best of Ghana's education. I wish you well. Thank you. I wish you well. Thank you, sir. I wish you well.
Thank you, sir. Very difficult, because when it comes to these areas, in the rural areas, the school too is not in a good condition. And we are also running a new curriculum. And the resources that are used to guide the students are not available. So sometimes we even have to go to the internet and then be getting most of the resources to guide them. This deprived area, teaching and learning becomes very difficult. For example, even preparing the candidates, they don't have lights in the school. Nothing like that. And when it comes to situations like this, sometimes you need to go for extra classes with them. And then most of the time, the contact hours are not enough for them to prepare. So we manage it. even though the condition is very bad.
How confident are you of your student as a BECE start today?
Yeah, my percentage of confidence is 95%. Yes, because we have 12 really hard, and then we are prepared for it.
Above all the challenges, you believe your student will do well?
Oh yes, surely.
I'm feeling a bit nervous because this is new curriculum. The government have changed the system of schooling, and we don't even know the subject that are coming. Like, we don't even have past questions to learn on because it's new curriculum. So we are feeling a bit nervous.
You're feeling a bit nervous, but are you confident of today's paper? What paper and paper are you writing today?
English and Arabic.
How prepared are you?
I'm well prepared. If only Hot Island will come, because we don't know what will come. This is the first batch, and we have no past questions to learn.
Well, the man in charge of the education sector is Dr. Yao Aduchum, and he's been speaking to my colleague Emefa Kwesu during his rounds this morning.
Let me commend WAEC. The last 3 years when I directed that schools or WAEC should use serialization, they complied and they obliged. And today as I speak with you, the examination center you see here will have different sets of questions from the examination center not too far from here. This has helped curb what we knew to be examination leakages. Because if you want to say that you have the questions and you have gotten them leaked to you, you don't know which examination center has that question. So parents are not buying, students are not interested. They are focused on studying and going to write the exam, because if they accept the question, they don't know if it's going to be their questions or it's not going to be. Okay. They've scaled it up to high schools, and the WASI that is coming out, there will be a serialization element where different schools may have a different set of questions. Even if they are same, they are scrambled. Your question 1 may be my question 20. So if you want to get the same question from a source and get a lead to you, you are not going to succeed. So I think WAEC has done something wonderful. What we are now trying to avoid is more practicing within the classroom when they have the same set of questions. They are doing very well with the invigilators, but also next year are looking at how do you serialize within the classroom so that student A, who is seated here, will have different questions from student B seated in the same classroom, and that's the next frontier. Until we get to e-testing, where you cannot cheat automatically because the computer will select different questions for different students, we have to serialize, we have to prevent students from cheating, and when it happens, WAEC also has a different way of determining who has cheated. But we don't want to even get there. Let's stop it.
So this has been day one. They are done with the exam for today, English and RME. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll look at how the day has been so far for the students and, of course, the organization of the examination when we return. You're welcome back to the show. Now, let's stay a little longer on the BECE because the examination started today. Today, they wrote English and RME, and they are hoping to continue tomorrow and end it on Friday. The education minister was out and about, and of course, one of my colleagues, Emefa Kwesu, was Semefa Kwesu. I don't know why I keep calling Emefa. Semefa, you're welcome back to the studio.
Thank you.
So tell us where you've been.
Okay, so we've been to the Ayawasu West municipality. It has 6 centers and over 1,300 students writing in these centers, both private and public schools, of course. So the minister was around to check what was going on and also interact with students for a few seconds, encourage them that they should put in their best.
So it was just one area you went today?
No, not really. We went to other municipalities, such as we went to the Bema camp, the schools over there also. But that one we went with the WAEC team. We have the WAEC head of national here in Ghana, visiting some of the schools. Now, one thing that came up is that here in Accra, the exams have been successful. Right. It's been peaceful, but
at least so far.
Yes, in the Bekwai municipality,
in the Ashanti region.
Yes, she reported that they've picked up some teachers who attempted teaching students, but they are waiting for the full report on that. Then they can know what to do.
And this information is coming from WAEC.
Yes.
That if arrested 2 teachers in the
about 3 of them
in the Bekwai municipality in the Ashanti region for attempting to help the students write the exam.
Sure.
All right. So hopefully we'll go to the Ashanti region and get more from this. But what is the minister's and WAEC's general assessment of the exercise today, especially here in the Greater Accra region?
They said so far it's been successful. Now, we know that one thing going into the exams was funding for the registration. So we asked her if the funding that they've received from government is enough. So she said that at least it's okay for the examination period and to take care of those who are monitoring or supervising the exams right now. But going into the marking, they may need
more money.
Fund, yes, to pay those who will be marking the papers. You know that those who mark the papers are different from the supervisors currently. Yes, so they need more funds to be able to pay the examiners who will be marking, so that at least they'll be snappy with the marking and then the result will be out, so that these young ones can proceed to the SHS. And then the minister was also talking about examination malpractices. Of course, we know that every year we have these issues coming up. So he said that we shouldn't wait until it's examination before measures are put in place to curb examination malpractices. So after the exams, his outfit and WAEC would have to look at a long-term solution
to this recurring issue.
Yes.
But I'm interested in the indebtedness to WAEC. We know that government paid 55 million Ghana cedis before the start of the examination, leaving about 40-something million yet to be paid. Did you get a response from the minister on this, on the financial issue?
So he said whether they have the money or not, the children have to write. So what they have to do is at least put in a short and interim measure to ensure that the children are able to write the exams. Then after the examination, they can go back to negotiate and look forward to ways that they'll be able to pay WAEC so that subsequent examination, they wouldn't face these issues again.
Before you go, so in Accra, there was no issue of arrest, cheating or anything of a sort.
At least to most of the centers that we visited with the minister and then the WAEC team, there hasn't been anything as such. They have a conducive environment. You won't see teachers and other students loitering around. I think the student body is on break, except those who are writing in the centers.
All right. Well, you're a SMFA, so thank you so much for your. And I know that tomorrow you'll be on the grounds to bring us more. So let me go on Zoom right now and take you to the Upper West region where my colleague Rafiq Salam joins us. So Rafiq, day one is over. Did everything go as planned?
In the Upper West region, I will tell you that everything went on smoothly. In the Upper West region, we are having a little over 10,000 candidates who are taking part in this examination in the region here. But today, I found myself in the West district where we visited 2 of the 9 centers that the elections is taking place. So the first center that I moved to was at Taningana that had about a little over 500 students taking part in the examination. And then we bumped into the Member of Parliament for West constituency, Superintendent retired Peter Lenkine-Tubu, who gave the candidates a pep talk. And after that, he moved to Wuchao, the capital of the West district, where he moved straight to the Wuchao DA primary A and then B. And then he also spoke to them. Remember also before, on the eve of them writing the basic education certificate examination paper, he gave them some food items that valued over 13,000 Ghana cedis. So he was there himself to ensure, and then also to interact with these students, to give them the morale, to boost their confidence for them to write the examination. And so in the West district here, a little over 1,500 students are taking part in this examination, 9 centers, and then it's also taking place in 4 communities. And then the students, the candidates told me that they have a lot of expectation regarding the examination. They believe that they will sail through despite the challenges that they are facing. And I tried to even interact with one of them. He told me about their
So we are losing Rafiq Salam there. Rafiq, if you can reposition yourself so we can have a better signal. Rafiq, can you hear me?
examination. For them, it doesn't make them condition. But they are saying that despite these challenges, they will overcome and put them go to junior high school. It is of their choice.
Right, so Rafiq Salam is our Upper West regional correspondent, and he's updating us.
It's moving on smoothly. Hello?
Right, so Rafiq, if I may, yes, Rafiq, if I may ask, so in the Wild West municipality, 1,500 students are writing the exam. Is that the case? Rafiq cannot obviously hear us. I wanted to pick some few issues on this. Let me move away from the upper West region, and then let's try to understand what really is going on here. I mean, this over 560,000 people writing the exam with the hope of entering senior high school later this year. Now, the West African Examination Council, they have put in place measures they are sure will help address the issue of examination malpractices. Now, let's explore the matters as far as the one is concerned. And Dr. Peter Anti is educationist and he joins us via phone. So, Doctor, day one, from your monitoring, did everything go as planned?
Good afternoon. Yeah. So far, we've not had any reports of any incidents happening anywhere. Of course, we don't have the capacity to monitor every center, but people that we have going around the country, we have not had any reports so far. I think that it's been smooth, and we're hoping that it will be like this till the last.
Right. The head of WAEC here in Ghana says they've arrested 3 teachers in the Bekwai municipality of the Ashanti region. They attempted to help the students write, answer some of the questions that, they had to.
That is an unfortunate incident. I think that over the years we have admonished teachers to stay away from this or that's not that well to profession. That teachers are supposed to prepare students and for the exams, and that is where it ends. You are not supposed to get into the exam center and then engage in examination malpractice, no matter how critical the situation is. And I believe that WAEC should make official complaints to the National Teaching Council so that their licenses will be withheld and serve as a deterrent to other teachers who would want to put their professional life on the line because their students are writing exams and go use any devious means to ensure that their students are passing. I would advise WAEC to write an official report to the National Teaching Council, that is the body mandated to license and register teachers, so that they will take a serious issue out of this and possibly withdraw their licenses.
Doctor, stay with me because when I come back, I'm bringing in the WAEC Public Relations Manager, Mr. John Kapi. When I come out, I'll ask you about this 100,000 drop that we are seeing as compared to the numbers last year and whether this gives cause for worry. Mr. John Kapi, good afternoon. Welcome to the Post.
Afternoon, thank you. Today we are speaking on Monday.
Of course, Monday. So we are back. we are refreshed from the weekend. So everything should go as planned. So day one, how would you describe how day one ended as far as the examination is concerned?
Thank you for having me. I think that day one has gone well by our standards because when you are writing examinations and then even before the questions go out, you have all manner of things flying around, then it kind of creates discomfort. But as we speak, everything has gone on well. We were able to dispatch question papers. Of course, what I would term teething problems, that is to say that on the first day, there are a few delays here and there about items getting to exam centers on time. But this afternoon, everything picked up, and I can say that we've had a successful first day.
So for the areas that you had delays, the students, I hope it did not affect them in terms of the time allocation.
Oh, no. Once the supervisor indicates, so there's a report form that each supervisor fills. The social supervisor would indicate the question papers arrived at my center maybe at 8:20 instead of 8 o'clock. So the exam started at 8:30 instead of 8 o'clock. All of these reports are brought to us, and there's evidence to show that, yes, indeed, they arrived late. And so they allowed the entire period that is meant for the examination.
And we are picking information, confirmed by your head, that in Bekwai, you've arrested 3 teachers. They attempted to help the students answer the questions.
Yes, so the arrests have been effected. I indicated in our press briefing last Friday that we're going to engage the National Intelligence Bureau. We're also engaging the National Security. We have the Ghana Police Service. Thankfully, personnel of the National Intelligence Bureau were the ones who apprehended the Bekwai teachers who were attempting to help them. They've been handed over to the police, and we are waiting for further details so that we'll be able to tell the public what actually went on. As I speak, we've also picked up 2 teachers from Gini Senior High School Center B. One
in the Bono region.
Yeah, in the Bono region, yes. So we have one Kingsley Boateng and Atibu James. These are teachers of some basic schools around the area who also had a link person who was taking photographs in the examination hall and sending it to them to solve for the children. So they've been picked up. They've also been handed over to the police. We also had situations this morning where right after the commencement of the examination, some people took snapshots of the question papers and posted them on social media. We've been able to trace the numbers that took the pictures and posted them on social media. So we are tracking, and we pray God that we're able to apprehend these guys and we bring them to book.
Right. So, I mean, so far, these are the only reported infractions.
These are the reported ones. We haven't received reports from all our monitors across the country. These are a few that have come to us. Usually, by close of day, each of the monitors who have gone around will send us information online, and then we're able to analyze, and then we can put that out. So hopefully by tomorrow morning, we'll be able to gather a lot more information, and that will put out for the public to know.
Right. So, Mr. Kapi, the teachers, Bekwai and Gini, were they undertaking invigilation that, afforded them the opportunity to be at the examination center to the extent that they attempted to help the students?
So the Gini case, they are invigilators. The 2 of them were invigilators, and so they've been relieved of their positions as invigilators for the examination.
And you have replaced them with new ones?
Certainly we replace them with new ones, yeah.
So what is the process now? Is it a case that they will have to be hauled before court, or you are doing further investigations?
Right. So now what it means is that they have broken the rule of possessing question papers outside in the course of the examination hall on an electronic device from which the information can be retrieved. Now, so what we're going to do, there's a law against this, and we are going to process them in court, and so they certainly will be hauled before the courts, and then their cases will be adjudicated.
And the students who were helped, will they suffer any punishment?
Well, we do not have evidence of candidates who may have benefited from what these invigilators have done. At least from what we have received, it was on their phones, and as I speak with you, I have pictures of their phones, and then the WhatsApp platform on which we're posting these items.
No, I was referring to the teachers at Gingene and Bekwai. They attempted to help the students. I'm asking whether the students who were being helped in the process, would they suffer any punishment?
Well, unfortunately, we could not determine who benefited from what these invigilators had done. So what we would do by our processes is that for those centers, we will scrutinize their scripts further after marking to ascertain whether there has been any form of collusion amongst them, and then action will be taken based on our findings.
First day and already arrest. What is this telling you? Does it mean that you may have to step up the security measures you have put in place?
Absolutely. So I'm going into a meeting. Then, if I were not speaking with you, I would have been in a meeting
we
right
appreciate
now.
your time.
What we're going to do is we're going to assess these arrests that we've made. We'll reinforce our surveillance of those areas and probably even increase our presence around those areas in order that sanity would prevail.
Mr. Kapi, finally, before you go, so that I can let you attend your meeting, I know that to deal with the issue of examination malpractices, you have different questions in different areas. Is that the case?
So they are the same tests, okay? If you want to measure, you have to have the same test. All we have done is what we call the multiple choice item randomization. All right, so they are the same questions, but we have changed the positions of some of the questions for some areas.
Okay.
In some areas also, we have changed the position of the scoring key or the answer. So that if, for example, you and I even have the same question, the answer to your question is D, mine could be A. So in which case, if anybody sends answers from your end to me and I copy them ditto, I could be in serious trouble.
All right. Mr. John Kapi, let me allow you to attend your meeting. Thank you so much for this update for us this afternoon. Mr. John Kapi is the Corporate Affairs Manager of the West African Examination Council. The breaking news this afternoon is that they've arrested 5 teachers. They were in the process of helping the teachers write the exam. 3 in Bekwai in the Ashanti region, 2 at Jinjini in the Bono region. Of course, somebody also took pictures of some of the questions, sent it on a WhatsApp chat, and then they were able to trace the number, and they've arrested that person as well. Let me bring in Clinton here before I go to Dr. Peter Anti for his reaction to this latest development. Clinton, where did you monitor the first day of the exam?
All right, so I've been to 3. So I've been to 3. Hello.
Yes, Clinton, I can hear you loud and clear.
All right, so I've been to 3 centers: the Dominacy MED test, Okwase Kokobin Junior High School, and the Anyankwanta SDA School. What was peculiar and was a common trend in all the schools were the number of pregnant students that were there. Out of the 3 centers, I had 2 we spotted 2 pregnant students there with 4 absenteeism. So that should tell you that the number that were registered to have take the exams have reduced drastically. And the conditions of
Yes, please go on.
Yeah, and the conditions of the pregnant women were very glaring. I mean, you could see how stress, you can see the stress on their face. However, when I engaged them, they expressed that the pregnancy will not affect them in any way and it's not hinder them from, becoming successful. They expressed that they are very hopeful of passing the exam because they have learned enough for the people.
Right, we are hearing of arrests and examination malpractice in some areas. Did you encounter any in your rounds?
Well, fortunately or unfortunately, I did not encounter any kind of misconduct during my inspection. It was very calm. The supervisors I spoke to were all at post, and there were no misconduct conducted.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Clinton Yeboah, for that update from Kumasi in the Ashanti region. Now, let me bring in Dr. Peter Anti again. So, Dr. Anti, you heard the WAEC official response to the issue of examination malpractices. He says 3 teachers been arrested in Bekwai, 2 invigilators arrested at Jinjini in the Bono region. They've also arrested someone who took pictures of the examination question, sent it on the WhatsApp chat. They've traced the number. They've made arrests as well. What's your reaction to what we are learning this afternoon?
Well, I think that for an examination of that magnitude, it's likely that you definitely have some outliers, and these are the reports that we are having. If the whole of today we are having 5 incidents, then I think that maybe the systems put in place are robust. As I indicated earlier on, those who are teachers, we should not end with the police investigation, because that's how it's been always. They go through police investigation, and then at the end of the day, nothing comes out of it. So I'm thinking that this time around, if WAEC means business, they should make an official report to the Teacher Regulatory Council, which is the National Teaching Council, and let them take it up from there. And if one or two teachers are punished for putting their professional ethics aside and engaging in such an incident, I think that it will be a great deterrent to others who would want to go that path.
It ultimately also affects the students. I mean, overall, if WAEC investigation established that they were helped, they may see their entire results cancelled.
Well, I think they have mechanisms to detect these things. If all the students are writing or they suspect them, I think they would have to do that. But that is why teachers are not supposed to engage in these things, because you put the future of a whole lot of children into jeopardy. So I think the punishment should go more to the teachers who are doing these things, and maybe we should pardon the students because they were not caught doing it. It is the teachers, or the teachers are those who have been caught. So maybe we should look at it from that perspective and hold the teachers more responsible for this.
All right. Before I let you go, I mean, I'm looking at the figures from 2016 up to 2024. We have it on our screens. That's the decline in BECE candidates. So in 2023, the nation presented 206,000 students to write the BECE. Now today, we presented a little over 570,000, almost 30,000, number declined from the number of 602. What best can explain this?
Well, so for us who look at the teaching data, those 2 points are not comparable. These are students that entered the education system in different years.
Right.
So if you want to know whether the students who are writing now are those who are supposed to write, you compare it to their entry period. So look at the number of students that did the test plan for the past 3 years, and ask yourself whether the same number is writing the BECE. There you would know what we call the completion rate and then the retention rate. That is do this kind of analysis. You can't see the other year because we didn't know the number of students that have enrolled during that for that batch of students who are writing. So it's always good to compare the enrollment rate group of students that have gone through the system, and that will give you a clear understanding of whether there's been a reduction or there's been the number of students are the same people who are writing. And then I think we do that analysis to be able to appreciate whether students are still dropping out from at the basic level, at the DHS level, or those who enter DHS are the same number of students that are writing the BECE.
So therefore, there is no cause for worry.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. We really need to look at the data from another perspective, not comparing year by year, but we have to compare the entry point in terms of the enrollment level to the completion point in terms of the number of students that were able to write the BECE for the same cohort of students.
All right. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon, Dr. Peter Anti. He is an educationist and, of course, is the one of the BECE 2024. And already, according to the West African Examination Council, they have arrested 3 or 5 teachers, 3 in the Bekwai municipality of the Ashanti region, 2 at Jinejine in the Bona region. And of course, this is just the one. And I'm sure that WAEC says they're still compiling. Hopefully, on Top Story, on News 9, on Joy News Prime, we have the latest figures in terms of the arrests made by the West African Examination Council. Let's move away from education and go to pension. Now, the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, SSNIT, has justified reasons to sell of 60% stake in 4 hotels to Rock City Limited, a company owned by the Food and Agricultural Minister, Brian Champon. Addressing the media a while ago, Director General of SSNIT, Kofi Bosompem Osafo-Mafo, did insist that all the hotels put up for sale recorded consistent losses, with the majority of hotels not paying dividends. Mr. Osafo-Mafo says SSNIT did not breach any procurement laws as due process were followed during the bidding process. Osafo-Mafo added that as an entity, SSNIT moved to sell a stake was financially sound decision. Listen to his justification.
NPRA did issue a letter asking that we suspend. Operative word is suspend. And what they noted in the letter, if you actually went into the details, was that we had met with them and the meeting was inconclusive. And what exactly that means is that we had an initial meeting and we were due further meetings or a meeting, and we've done those further meetings, or we've had a further meeting to correct it. And so once we've done that, we will await what NPRA has to say. But the suspension is not inconsistent with engaging stakeholders. Indeed, NPRA is the regulator, but is also a stakeholder. It does represent stakeholders. So when I say that we are engaging stakeholders, that includes the NPRA. So our current position is not inconsistent with what NPRA has asked us to do. The issue of the stakeholder engagement at the presidency, yes, we did have an initial stakeholder engagement. Another one is going to take place this coming Wednesday. I am not sure about what you mean by agreement. Was the question? Yes. What do you mean by agreement? I don't get you.
You said you are meeting the president on Wednesday.
Yes.
So my question to you is that definitely we are going to have some labor groupings over there.
Just as we did the last time.
Very well.
Yes.
So my question to you is that what exactly are you going to tell the president? What are you going to convince the president?
What we are going to have there again is a stakeholder engagement. So what I am going to say over there, it's not Wednesday. When we get there, we'll engage the labor unions. The engagements is not going to be done through the press. So you should understand that we had an engagement. We've also had an engagement with the NPRA. Once more, we will have another engagement, and if it's deemed necessary, we will continue to engage. I think that is the message, and it's not changed. So I think that's a point that I would like to make. So the other question was on the weak proposal. I'm not sure I really need to share those details about weak proposals. An assessment is made based on the technical proposal that is put forward, i.e. What you intend to do, the people you are seeking to employ to undertake it, and all other criteria which have to be consistent with what we put out in the request for proposals. We then assess that across board. If you score the weakest, you score the weakest. And I think that is about it. And Sparta Knives are fully aware of that position because we returned their financial proposal to them unopened. So, in fact, I've been given some details here now. Let me see whether I can. Okay. 2 central points. Specific experience of the investor relevant to the project, and then adequacy of the proposed development plans in responding to the terms of reference. So I think that probably is not much different from what I said previously. The criteria is set out. What are your plans for the project, and how well positioned you are to execute? And they were found wanting on that. So I think that answers that. Now, there was a question that was asked on La Palme not paying dividends and payments made.
So let's get on the phone lines and understand what is going on, whether Labour Union understands it also. General Secretary of the Ghana Federation of Labour, Abraham Kunsin, joins me for more on this latest development coming from SSNIT. Mr. Kunsin, good afternoon. Welcome to the Pulse.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, so the Director General of SSNIT, Mr. Bosompem Osafumafo, says the hotels are not doing well. He also makes the point that the hotels have not been sold, even though it has been marked for sale. I mean, does it give room for further discussion regarding how this matter should be treated?
No, we've already stated our position. Organized Labour, we've stated our position already, that we are not going to allow the SSNIT hotels to be sold. We have stated it already. COSAC held a press conference last week. NAGRAT has issued a statement. GFL will send him. And we are saying they shouldn't sell it. But what is it? Because you are a CEO, you are an employee of SSNIT. The owners are saying that, please, stop it. So why are they? Why? If they want employment, there are so many state enterprises. They should go there. We are saying that, please, do not sell the SSNIT hotels, period. So what is it saying? It is saying that it's going to engage the stakeholders, Organized Labour. Who? The four representatives of Organized Labour failed us. And I don't think they are going to continue engaging these four people. We have come in as owners of this hotel. And we are saying that don't do it. It's our money. Don't do it. Why are they? What? I didn't get him. Is he going to engage who? The representatives who failed us? I don't think so. Look, we were going to organize nationwide demonstrations. We're going to do that. But because of the letter that NPRA wrote, that's why we've held on waiting to see how these matters are going to be resolved. But if they still want to sell it, then we are going to activate the actions that we contemplated taking. They should stop that. We're not saying it.
Mr. Gumsi, the manager also says that he has a responsibility as MD to ensure that SSNIT is healthy. Now, among some of the things that they want to do is to do away with non-performing investment. And the hotels are considered non-performing investment. Would you rather wish that they continue to pump money into an entity that is not bringing the needed returns?
Look, if you've read the same capital budget report, you wouldn't even waste my time. That report, that transaction advisors report, this company was engaged by SSNIT itself. And it is saying that, look, the conditions, the terms that were, settling with the one who wants to buy, that is the wrong city, it's not good. Out of the 130-something million, think that, the value of the hotels, the man is going to pay 60 million or something. But I'm driving, that's why I can't call the figures, the accurate figures.
In fact, you are right. It's $60 million.
Less than half of this amount. And according to the report that I have in my office, the report that I have in my, unfortunately, I'm in town.
Right.
But the report has advised strongly against the sale of the hotel, because the brand, they don't have the money. They don't have the money to purchase it, even if they are going to sell it. They don't have the money.
And I guess that is the reason why SSNIT says that they've put on hold the ongoing, discussions with Rock City until certain factors or certain conditions that they have put forth are met, which amongst them include the financial, health of Rock City to purchase these hotels.
Look, you should forget about that. They're not going to tell it. We own that if they want us to agitate and create some, problems, we'll do it. If they want to, if they insist on selling it, I can assure them that they won't have their peace of mind. We are not selling it. They shouldn't sell it. He is an employee. The school is an employee. We will sack him and sack all those who are, collaborating with him, get them out and employ fresh people. What is it? We own the SSNIT. We own it. We are paying for it. We are paying, contributing every month towards the fund. And he cannot tell us how he's going to apply. He is not going to. Look, we will not allow that. So you stop it. You stop it. Otherwise, we organize massive, not what we did about 2 weeks ago in Accra here. It's going to happen all over, across the regions, everywhere, all the workers. So they should stop it. They should stop it. They cannot engage those poor people who we mandated to talk for us. They should not. They should have gone beyond those poor people. If you think that they are going to engage the poor people, then he's maybe dreaming. We shouldn't. We are not going to tell it, please. We are not going to tell it. We are not telling anything.
Mr. Kumsin, have you been invited to this Wednesday meeting at the Jubilee House?
I'm not aware. But last when our delegation went to the Jubilee House, but why are they forcing to tell this? I can't understand. Why are they doing that? To discuss what? At the Jubilee House?
He said there's another meeting coming this Wednesday for you to have a sit down to discuss this matter between organized labor, the presidency, and SSNIT.
Most of our people will not even go. Because when they went there last week, the posture of His Excellency the President was not good.
Is the president in support of what SSNIT wants to do?
No, he's in support of the sale. That impression created. And so he was not happy with our people. And even the meeting with him last, it was curtailed. I mean, the meeting did not, end well. See, because the way the president was talking as if he was angry and things didn't go well. I don't know who are going to go to represent organized labor.
Angry because of the position taken by people like you?
By organized labor. He feels that, why? Is this because Brian Champo is a member of his government? That's why we are saying that not because of Brian Champo. We are not opposed to this sale because of Brian Champo. No. We don't have any issues with him. Whether it is conflict of interest or not, we don't know the law. All we are saying is that, please, do not sell this strategic asset. Look at where it is located. Look, Alisa Hotel in Accra, they have even established another branch in Tema here.
Right.
Alisa Hotel, they're doing very well. Why do they want to sell the hotel? Are they buying it themselves? Come on, they should stop it.
So you will not attend this upcoming Wednesday meeting?
No, I'm not aware. As far as I'm concerned, as a critical stakeholder of organized labor, I'm not aware.
But do you think that, but Mr. Kunze, do you think that demonstration will get SSNIT to back off? I mean, the MD is quite clear. This is a must-go hotel. They must be sold. Otherwise, it will be a drain on the trust.
Master, he's lying. I'm saying he's lying. They want to sell this thing and chop. They want to sell for themselves. Look, if the demonstration starts, look, some of us, we are even being accused by our members that we have compromised.
Why? Why?
They are blaming us.
Why so?
Oh, because they are saying, you are representing our interests. And you are sitting there for this asset to be sold. So what happens? Because already, must remember that ILO has written. The report of ILO says that in about 9 to 10 years' time, SSNIT will collapse.
SSNIT has dismissed it today, saying that it will never happen.
Come again.
SSNIT, at this news conference today, dismissed the ILO report saying that it won't happen. It says that this is not the first time they predicted it. They've always predicted it, but it has never come to pass.
They are up to something, but we'll stop them. They are up to something. Me, I don't want to use certain words on them. But if they want to mess us up, we'll mess them up more than what they can do to us. I'm telling you this. They should wait and see.
Mr. Kumsin, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. Abraham Kumsin is head of the Federation of Labour, and according to SSNIT, there's an upcoming meeting again at the Jubilee House on Wednesday, and the hope is that they'll be able to resolve this matter. But their position on the hotels is quite clear, that the 4 hotels in question, they are not bringing in much. The reason why SSNIT cannot continue to invest money into an entity that is not bringing in the needed returns, so they must go. We'll keep watching this space for more on this. This is a pause right here on Joy News. Get interactive with us via social media handles. Now, last night, former President John Mahama met journalists in Accra and briefed them on his vision for the country should he become elected president in the December elections. He outlined a plan to deal with corruption and address economic problems facing the country as president. One of the ideals he's proposing to address is a congestion in the capital in what he describes as a new future city, which he says will span 3 regions, Greater Accra, Eastern, and the Volta, and will be situated near the Volta Lake. Let's understand this new city better. And Bob Mutare is spokesperson for the former President John Mahama, who is bidding to lead the country again in 2025. Mrs. Mutare, it's always a pleasure to speak to you on the pause. So this new city idea, tell me more about it.
Very much. You do know that many, let me say a very big thank you to all of you who joined us yesterday. It was a very, very insightful encounter, very, very humbling that all of you made time to be with us. I love the questions, I like the composure, and the best part was that you put Mr. Mahama to strict proof, and he was actually up to the task. So once more, a very big thank you to each and every one of you. I think that of the many things he actually communicated yesterday, one of the things that he mentioned was the possibility of decongesting Greater Accra, and of course, most of the greater and inner parts of our regional capitals across the country. You do know that for quite some time, there have been conversations, even as far back as when we were in office, to actually go and construct an international airport in Pram Pram. This was all in a bid to literally try and decongest the central parts of Greater Accra, etc. Indeed, Nigeria did it very, very beautifully, and you can see that it has actually reduced a lot of traffic between Lagos and Lekki and all of these places that usually were places that nobody would even dare to try and go to. So as we grow, as our numbers increase, as we develop more, rural urban migration, there's a need also to literally redevelop and redemarcate our country. So I think he mentioned the fact that you could actually start by decentralizing some of the ministries, agencies, and departments. You can also start by decongesting the whole ministries part of our country. You can actually offload some of the key services to other parts of the country. And yes, he also mentioned the fact that transportation will be a very, very big component of this move, and that to be able to develop or redevelop a new city will require several other amenities, such as affordable housing, motorable roads to and from, where you can make travel time, real-time travel, and make travel more efficient. And so, yes, there is a need to start this conversation now. And I think he even mentioned that Rome wasn't built in a day, but that it was an idea that he believed that would work for our country too. And it was something that we should start considering very, very seriously. I mean, who remembers that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs many years ago used to be in the back where the ministries actually are located?
Right.
Since they moved out, the Ministry of Defense has done so. So you can tell that it has actually lightened traffic around the central parts of Accra. I used to work around Jamestown, so I remember what traffic on the high street used to be like.
Absolutely.
So I do know that when you make these little adjustments here and there, it actually does work very hard to ameliorate our traffic and congestion in the cities.
Well, I mean, this is very laudable and ambitious project that the former president, the NDC flag bearer, is seeking to do if elected in December. I mean, for example, where I live, somewhere around North Legon, because I come to work very early, it takes me sometimes less than 20 minutes to move from my home to Kokomlemle. Now, I will leave the office around 5. It will take me sometimes 2 hours to get home. So,
absolutely, that's very.
So it is something
you know
that
we also have, yes, it's something that is worth consideration. Angola did it. Many other countries have done it. Indeed, when it happened in Angola, I was privileged enough at the time working in trade facilitation to visit the new city, and I watched how they had schools, they had new housing, they had a railway station. They even actually built an inland port in that part of the city just to decongest the main capital. So it is something that is a work in progress, and he'll be expecting the media in particular to help him in that conversation so that at least we can help structure it even better and then decide on which parts or aspects of our social and service lives will be moving to this new city. But yes, I mean, look at Pram Pram, for example. You can move the Ministry of Local Government, for example, to Pram Pram. I mean, years ago, Osajifu saw it fit to actually construct Eduasi Lodge. Look at the sort of pleasure that it brings our leaders, because you can go there and host a whole meeting with another head of state and not interact with anybody's life, for example. So yes, there were times when I even used to think that we'll move our seat of government to Peduasi in particular and then leave the city of Accra.
Right.
So I think that these are conversations that all of us would like to see and firm up, and hope that as we start the process, you in the media in particular will help and bring us all the other good benchmarks that we can all learn from. So I think it's a fantastic, but of course you do know also that he announced many other things, because look, one of the biggest things that all these things will actually help do is that, look, we have a critical problem. Lack of jobs, unemployment, which is now actually bordering on a security threat. I just listened to the tail end of your interview with the gentleman from the labor union,
Right.
and that actually sums up just how bad things are right now in our country. Let our opponents defend it all they want. Let them try as much as possible to make hay whilst it lasts. But if you apply the scrutiny that you apply to the Mills Mahama administration, to Akufo-Addo and Bawumia, they will have no business even to campaign. I mean, I have heard this rumor about how the president literally attacked the labor groups that went to visit him on this conversation about SSNIT. I mean, please tell me, are those shares the personal property of our president, His Excellency Akufo-Addo? Do they belong to his family? Are they part of the family heirloom that were left to them? How much have they paid SSNIT pensioners as against what the whole CEOs and director generals that they've packed SSNIT with are earning? In any case, when we talk about conflict of interest, I expect that the president, being a lawyer himself, will know better. But of course, this is a president who also has actually run one of the most nepotistic administrations in the history of this country. So I'm not surprised at his attitude. I'm not surprised that every little thing, it becomes a spat between the president and the same people that he literally begged and cajoled to bring him into office and promised to do much, much better. Now he has become like a sparring champion in that office. And every time there are issues and he goes up against the citizens, you hear all these attacks and announcing how chiefs don't stand up to greet him and just literally abusing all the discretions that the Constitution actually allows him to have.
So, Council,
so I think that these are all issues that actually tell us that, look, the conversation, the need for change, and I remember the debate in the United Kingdom recently, where the announcer actually said that, look, both gentlemen are speaking to the same issues that actually face us, but we have experienced the Conservatives, and we know what we don't want. So we are looking forward to a new government and we want change. Indeed, they gave a resounding victory to the Conservatives. And so 410 members of parliament for Labour, one of the biggest wins for Labour since, whatever, is it the 1837 or something thereabouts? Look, there is only one message that we can communicate to Akufo-Addo and to Vice President Bawumia. It is that we must vote for change.
Let me bring you back. Let me bring you back on the plans to decongest the capital. And I'm wondering, I mean, this will be capital intensive. Whether you've looked at the figures, because yesterday at the newscon, the former president was quite clear that certain things that the journalists were asking, for example, someone asked whether the flag bearer will consider building a new sports stadium. And he says, I will look at the finances. I cannot give you a definite promise now. So he's aware of what may be waiting for him in 2005 in terms of how our economy is looking, and the financial, resources that may not be available to execute some of the plans that he may want to.
Of the house,
so in
it's
terms
worth
of
millions.
the decongestion of Accra, have you looked at the figures and how feasible can this happen within the 4 years that he will be on as president if elected?
Find ourselves in, which is why leaders must also now think outside the box. So I believe strongly that trying to decongest Accra is one of these reasons, because then we can create more efficiency, we can build travel time for people into our country. We can even ensure that workers are no longer as stressed as they've always been. But, sometimes when you talk about money to invest in some of these things, look at it from this perspective. Ghana is blessed that all parts of our country have some level of natural resources. We have good land available. We have many other opportunities for people to want to invest in. All you have to do is make your country a great destination for investment. And so building a new city is not something that is out of the norm. It is something that is very, very feasible. In terms of cost, you do know that mostly what will you do? People will expect you to at least put in basic amenities. You will have to put in roads and put in water systems, electricity, just to make it habitable. And like I said, if you are able to move 4 or 5 ministries, for example, to Pram Pram, you have actually done a yeoman's job.
Right.
Eventually, they will grow in Pram Pram. Many other businesses will develop around Pram Pram. And how much further is Pram Pram even from Greater Accra region? But certainly, you'll be decongesting Accra. You'll be building up effectively for another environment where tourism, where other forms of an economy will develop. But look, whatever we do, we will have to continue to invest in the progress of our country, to invest in the development of our country, to encourage additional investment in these parts of our country. When Akosombo Dam was built, there was nobody there.
Right.
When Buli Dam was built, there was nobody there. You understand? So these are all interventions that actually build. Look, we have all these London sites, Agodeke, and all these other Makango and others. Go and see there. When the pontoon stops, there's a huge crowd, but there's absolutely nothing there even to receive guests and what have you.
Right.
So there's a conversation that by all means must be had. And there is a need also to work to decentralize our processes. And through this decentralization, you will also be decongesting the greater parts of our city. It is also a way to encourage people. Look, imagine we had a fantastic railway connection from Pram Pram, for example, to Accra. Imagine there was a railway connection from North Legon to the central business district. Why would you need to drive your car and even sit in traffic? You would make the same journey in 30 minutes.
Absolutely.
I used to work in the central business district when the Sakumono railway line was working. My colleagues who lived in the apartments in Sakumono, for example, used to get to work very, very early. All you have to do is to park and ride. So, there are ways that I have always believed that, look, one of the biggest catalysts for development anywhere in the world is transportation. It's an area that I have enormous expertise in. I believe that if we get leaders who will invest in seamless transportation alone, then developing cities and decongesting Accra on the back of better transportation services will be a matter that we will probably see as a very feasible and doable process. So yes, if you are interested in this conversation about, decongesting Greater Accra and most of our cities, then why not? Indeed, when Tema was constructed as an industrial enclave, I'm sure you remember.
Of course.
There were no residences anywhere around there. But the city has grown around that whole industrial enclave. And today, Tema is a bustling metropolis that it is. So there is always ways that modern planning is
it's very necessary. Very necessary. And and I know that the case is actually made. The case is made of London, where it is estimated that 3 million people travel in and out of London every day. But because of the efficiency of the transport and the rail system, that's how come you don't really see that traffic.
Absolutely.
In the absence of that, I'm sure that nobody will be able to even walk around the central business district of London. So this is perhaps a welcoming news, and the hope is that when the NDC is elected, this will materialize. So after the news conference, what's next for the flag bearer?
Well, you do know that we are actually preparing to launch our manifesto, as has become a tradition for our political parties. And then he will continue with the engagements with various associations. I'm sure that very, very soon He'll be meeting yet another association in the aftermath of this conversation. But I loved what happened yesterday so much, and I do think that it is something that we ought to replicate in the other regions as well. And I believe that Mr. Mahama actually spoke to that matter as well. And I'm also looking forward to more engagements with all of you, not just to discuss the new city or prospects for a new city, but to discuss all the other issues that he raised regarding creating employment for our young people, regarding creating digital environments and hubs for our young people, regarding creating avenues for better employment opportunities for our young people. And you do know that most of the young people in Ghana are literally concerned more about sustainable, decent jobs and employment, not just the underemployment situations that we have, but something real and something sustainable. And that is why I always come back to this debate about selling off the shares of our hotels in SSNIT, for example. So what are we going to leave for the younger generations, for all the persons who probably are nowhere near getting a pension or being paid one? I think that these are conversations that also should feed into our very partisan political debate, so that we also know that the leader who preserves our assets for the future is a man to vote for. And I believe that John Mahama stands tall in that regard. And don't forget that every leader arrived as president and literally cut off all the assets that our forebears left for us. Then what will be left of the country, Ghana? So let's work to preserve some of the things that are preserved for the larger populace, the larger generation, and the many young people who are yet unborn. Indeed, state assets are part of a legacy of our forebears and ought to be preserved. Indeed, the owners of most of these state assets themselves, the persons who granted these lands through various executive instruments to government themselves, are very unhappy. If everybody chose to pick up these lands and put in their pockets, for example, we wouldn't have the industrial enclave in Tema, would we? We wouldn't have the Akosombo Dam in Akosombo, would we? Neither would we have the Buli Dam. You know, when you do these things, it builds into government a certain type of greed that is not acceptable.
Right.
And then when you watch the attitude of the leaders who should know better, who are literally just trustees or custodians of what belongs to us, then it tells you that something is not right. I am all for change. I believe that John Mahama and the NDC present the best alternative for a difficult Ghana going into the future. I believe that John Mahama has spoken at length about the fact that all of us must help him to build the Ghana that all of us will be proud of.
Right.
We talked about Ghana beyond aid. Today we are begging. We talked about Ghana beyond IMF. Today we are at the IMF and begging. We talked about Ghana beyond corruption. Today we are failing on all attempts to fight corruption. Indeed, the biggest seat of corruption, we are told by Professor Frimpong Boateng, is at the seat of the presidency, where President Akufo-Addo presides over all that is his. But what he forgets is that it was actually the civic responsibility of the good people of Ghana that gave him that seat. And the same way that he got that seat, he will, by the grace of God, be handing over to another administration.
All right, thank you so much, Madam Bawa Mutari. Always a pleasure speaking to you here on The Pulse. Let me also bring in Charles Issel, who is a former, Charles Issel joins us. He is a development, an urban planner, and he joins us. Mr. Issel, good afternoon. So this idea to decongest the city, I mean, everybody will welcome it, but the question is it feasible? Is it something that can really happen in our current economic situation? Right, so Mr. Issel, if we can unmute for me so we can hear you.
Okay.
Right. So
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. So thank you so much for joining us. I was asking whether this idea to decongest the city, I mean, create regions out of Greater Accra, take some government, build government agencies out of Accra and position them outside of Accra. Would this help to decongest the capital?
Yes, in a way it can, but that is if the new location is properly integrated in terms of access, physical access, roads, rail, and other networks of communications. And so, yes, it is possible.
But
the question is, where?
Exactly the question. Will you be able to answer that question for us? Mr. Ese, can you hear me? I think we're having difficult. He is having difficulties, with his audio. We'll try and see if we can.
Yes.
Yes. So you asked a question about where, and I'm asking whether you can help us understand, answer that question.
The idea of expanding a city like a capital beyond the original space is not new. So you go to other countries, they call them new cities, which in Ghana we could have used, say, in Sanwem, we can use, say, Winneba, or somewhere within a rigorous traveling time of, say, 1 hour, but with very good top-class express roads, right? Because if you are not going to build a whole new city as a link, there should be some physical link so that people can live and still work in the old and the new city. But as it stands now, I think that we are also not utilizing our land properly within the current city space. Accra is still having a very low density. Density basically means the number of build-up area in terms of our vertical space versus the horizontal space. I mean, you just have to travel beyond airport, and the highest building you'll find is 4-story, 3-story. And by the time you get to Amasamai or you get to Pokwase, you are dealing with an average of 4-story.
Right.
So we need a very heavy urban renewal projects where we'll take a whole, say, Adabraka, or we take any of these suburbs and remodel it. Yes, these lands are privately owned, but can government come out with a policy to integrate them, build, and for them to have some space within which government can own some parts, these private individuals also own some parts, or government buy the entire land. Those are possibilities, but I don't think that there is an effort being made currently to properly renew Accra. Accra needs a major urban renewal projects.
But again, the issue about...
Rather than building...
Yes, Mr. Issa, I was asking about our commitment to the many promises that we have been given as a country with the aim of decongesting the capital Accra. I mean, let's talk about even the Ayalolo buses for public transportation. Now, I mean, at the onset of it, we were told that a dedicated route was going to be created for just that bus. And so it was going to help with public transportation. People can actually park their vehicles, join the Ayalolo bus, and be able to get to their destinations on time. The law to even give that legal backing to that particular exercise, as we speak now, that law has not even been put before Parliament. So the Ayalolo buses are fighting for the same space with some of these, commercial buses.
Good. Yeah. So it's about the law. And that's why we have Parliament. And that's why we select leaders. The leaders must help society to grow, to develop. But unfortunately, we have to build Ghana, or we have to build our cities in the sub-Sahara with a Western democracy, which they didn't use to build their country. None of the European countries was built with free hands. None. None of them. They were all built before this idea of democracy emerged. The style of democracy we're adapting and building a new city. Look, by 1666, London was burnt. An architect called Christopher Wren was asked to redesign London. The Regent Street we all see today were owned by individuals. The king adapted the space, the architect designed, and it's a street that we all go there and we pride ourselves. I was in UK, I was in London, blah, 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 blah. The truth of the matter is that They are not passing the laws because they are afraid. The politicians are afraid they will lose votes. So it's a very difficult situation. We need to understand that in the end, we are going to suffer for it. They have to pass the law. They have to insist that it's done. Because look, I'll give you a phenomenon. In Koko Kumasi, in Koko in Nsawam Road,
right,
when the bypass was built, green and quiet. Drive there today. I was just there this weekend. It's built up again. The idea of a highway to travel fast will soon be defeated because all it takes is one accident where a car knocks a person. A green area now is being built up. Where are the authorities? Where are the assemblies? I am very sure reserved spaces were left so that we don't build there to facilitate quick traveling time. But it has all been encroached on, if you like. So until we pass these laws and make sure we enforce them, we are all going to lose. And that is why, if you take tourism, for instance, our built environment is not attractive for tourism. The amount of money we are getting from tourism, the kind of history we have as a people from Kwame Nkrumah to Menchia, and all these huge historical facts that stays with us. We are not benefiting because we have a very poor physically built environment, which doesn't encourage a lot of people to pass around. As against, you just oppose that with Singapore. Very little history, very rich built environment, huge tourism. The last time we checked, almost about $14 to $15 billion annually.
Right.
For Singapore. What do we get in Ghana? So we have a problem. And the problem is that the political system we are using now is not going to help unless we all agree that, look, you do the right thing, we'll vote for you. But of course, each one man has one vote, and the people who are going to suffer most are many. And the politician who will implement that likely to lose his vote.
So, Mr. Isel,
that's where the challenge is.
Mr. Isel, my final question, as we take leave of us. So last week, for example, the Ghana Statistical Service released their population projection for 2030 and 2050, and the prediction is that by 2030, the population will be around 39 million. But by 2050, Ghana's population will be around 52 million people. Now, they warn that Greater Accra, for example, because of migration, Greater Accra will run out of land. And so something must be done now. For the steps that we need to take before we get to 2050, what do you think should be some of the immediate things we can do? The Ochingene, for example, is proposing and asking why in 2024, why is the Ministry of Food and Agriculture in Greater Accra? Why is the Forestry Commission in Greater Accra? Why is GMPC in Greater Accra? He says that we should decentralize them to the other regions where, example, their use can be more, can be felt. So what should be the immediate steps as we look to 2050 where our population will be around 52 million? The warning is that Greater Accra will run out of land.
Yeah, well, we have to look at it in various, levels and, let me say, areas. So decongesting by taking other administrative responsibilities to other areas is fine, but that will not change the population dynamics. What we should do is, how do we also bring in the other regions in terms of fiscal development? Like I've said, Winneba should be a satellite city to support mainland Accra, right? Winneba, take Koforidua. By the time, there should be an excellent top-class road between Accra and Koforidua.
Right.
And Koforidua is in the eastern region.
Maybe a rail service, if you like.
Now, yes. So, before rail, and then the next level is that within Accra itself, what is the average height? Draw Accra as a pyramid from Osu and see what's the highest building, and just oppose the highest building you find around Amasamai. And you find out that Accra is virtually flat. So this 50 million we are afraid of. Greater Tokyo, as we speak, is around 39 million people in Tokyo. And it's the single most sophisticated city in the world. The whole of Ghana is in Tokyo, so like Greater Accra, right? In one city, the whole of Ghana is in that city, and everything works. So it is possible. We are not using our land well because the state has left land development to private individuals. Private people don't have money, so they go 2 levels and they are finished. But they have occupied land. If the state was going up, high-rise residential accommodation, 10, 15, 18-story for younger people, why are they in a rush to go and buy land at Amasaman in somewhere to develop when you can buy a flat and it saves traveling time? So it's something that if it's doable, all you need is urban planners, urban designers, architects, engineers. But we should also remember consumption of power, electricity. The more you're going up, the more energy requirements you have to, the building requires. You're going to use lifts, you're going to use other things. So our energy requirements is also going to go up, our waste is going to go up. So it's a comprehensive thing that we have to look at, but it is doable. Bring in the other cities, bring in the other towns, grow them into cities, link them with express roads, not linear ones, and link them all the networks. I mean, all the roads that have been done, most of them are political. Okay. If you are improving neighborhood roads, kind of traffic reduced by almost 40%, but those ones are not visible by the public.
Right, sir.
And therefore the people will not see it. But so basically that is,
all right.
It is doable. We just have to.
I guess it's a conversation we'll continue to have. Mr. Charles Isiel is an urban planner. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon right here on the Pulse, here on Journey. But before we go, the Buli Bamboy District Security Council has been meeting today after a wave of mysterious killings in the Buli Township. This weekend, the body of a man was found with the head and genitals chopped off. It adds up to about a dozen of serial killings in the constituency over the last few months. Member of Parliament for the area, Yusuf Suleimana, tells Joy News the severed head of the person killed has now been found at the outskirts of the Buli community, but is demanding proactive policing to end the killings immediately. Let's have the very latest on this, and my colleague Isaac Nyonya joins me from the region. So Isaac, what's the latest on this? We understand that the head of the victim has been found. So Isaac, I was asking the latest information that the head of the victim has been found. What more can you tell us? So, Isaac, yes, I'm trying to get your attention. We understand BECE just ended their meeting. What's the latest?
Yes, the latest that both peace, security, and traditional house are putting custody of the head. First of all, security, as they said, they're supposed to keep the head to do some more investigation to find out how the head was chopped up and what were used, leading to the arrest of this suspect. While the chiefs and the traditional council are thinking that they need to use to get the head, have possession of it, and complete the rituals leading
to. We appear to be losing Isaac Nyonya there. Isaac, can you hear me? Right. I guess for connection issues, Isaac is unable to hear us. Isaac Nyonya is our Savannah regional correspondent. But the news is that BECE, the District Security Council, just ended a meeting, and in subsequent bulletin, we'll tell you what their plans are to ensure peace and safety of the people in the Buli community. But that's our show for today. For more stories, log on to our website, myjoyonline.com. Several stories out there. Tomorrow, same time, Tuesday, we shall be here with another exciting edition of the Pulse. Tomorrow, we have a special programming from the Ashanti Regional Capital, Kumasi. It will be the unveiling of the running mates of the MPP election ticket, Dr. Matthew Poku-Prempeh, also known as Napo. We have a special programming from 1 p.m. till the unveiling is done. Until then, whatever you are up to in the hours ahead, I hope is profitable. My name is Elton Bobe. Keep faith alive. Take care.